You decided to hold today's press conference to counter campaign rhetoric that has come up on some of these issues?
Well, we think that it's newsworthy that we've had robots in the lab for a year, James. It certainly is the case that there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I do think it's important for our office to set the record straight. In fact, there have been tremendous improvements in the labs, technologically driven, and technology is key to what we do in this day and age. I mean, we're 10 years into the 21st century, so the notion that we wouldn't be employing the latest technology is not acceptable for us. We went through the CALIA accreditation process this summer, which we do every 5 years, isn't that right, Steve?
3 years.
Every 3. And we have passed those standards with flying colors. But this is a major change for us. And yes, I think it does counter the errant information that you'll see on the airwaves that there's a big problem with BCI crime labs, which historically was something of a problem, but as we've introduced technology and focused it, we are doing not only much better, but very well. And local law enforcement knows that and appreciates that around the state.
How often do you hit someone through the DNA testing that you link to two or more crimes? Do you ever hit someone and not only does it prove them positive for what you're testing them for, but then, you know, all these other things come along?
That certainly does happen, and I'll defer. I mean, it certainly happens. You never know when it's going to happen, but there's a number of cases of that sort, correct?
Definitely.
Can you go to the mic?
Sure.
Thank you. And tell us your name, please.
My name is Abby Schwatter. I work in the CODIS section out at BCI in London. As far as a forensic link in CODIS, we generally have at least 10 per month. It kind of depends on the cases that are being put into CODIS and the type of offenses that are being searched, but we do see it regularly.
And how does that compare with the overall case? Like 10 a month is how many?
We average somewhere around 70 hits to offenders each month, so approximately 10 of those will have additional cases linked as well. That's your question.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions? Anybody?
Yeah, hey, this is Laura Bischoff from Dayton Daily.
Hi, Laura.
Can you explain, I mean, I guess I'm wondering if this press conference should have been more appropriately done on the campaign side, since it seems like you're responding to Senator DeWine's criticisms of the crime lab?
No, I don't think we are, Laura, but there's certainly a little bit of a melding at this time of year. We have not politicized the BCI crime labs. They have solid work to do every day. They do it on behalf of local law enforcement. That others have chosen to politicize the crime labs and drag them into the campaign unjustifiably, I will say, because most of the information that's being presented is misinformation and garbled information. There have been numbers presented as to the average number of cases performed by our analysts in the lab, and it's being put out at 11 per analyst per month. That's factually untrue. It's 27 per month, but many of these garbled and errant statements continue to be repeated. But it's not me who's politicizing the crime lab, it's others. We are simply trying to set the record straight, and we thought it was appropriate for our office to do so, since it's the office's work that is at issue here, and that in fact has been very good, high quality work and on prompt timeframes, as local law enforcement will tell you if you ask them.
And a follow-up, how many sexual assault kids are out there that should be tested, just a ballpark figure? Do you have any idea?
We don't know at this point, because they would be in custody of local law enforcement departments and sheriff's offices. They've never been required to be submitted anywhere. As I said, Illinois has just legislated that. It's possible that issue will come up in Ohio. So what we're trying to do is introduce ourselves to a new problem, which is a decentralized problem in Ohio, and get our arms around it and work to see what progress we can make to arriving at a rational organization for the entire state, which is a good role for the Attorney General's office to play.
Okay, thank you.
Why would a county not send these out for testing? Does that make sense?
I can address that. Okay. What we do, and we have done for quite some time, is we've gone back and looked at our caseloads on our not only burglaries but our sexual assault cases, homicide cases, and we routinely submit DNA evidence to BCI lab all the time. That's something that we do in Franklin County. So I can attest to that part of it. We take a lot of stuff out there.
But why would other counties not do
You
it?
know what, I don't think I can speak for the other counties, and they very well may do that. But I have to agree with Attorney General Cordray that I think there needs to be a standard for the state of Ohio so we're all speaking from the same sheet of music.
Will that set a standard for all counties and how they submit for testing under certain circumstances?
That would be our goal. Now, of course, none of it will be mandatory on any particular agency or department unless it's legislated, but it may be that ultimately this commission will lead to legislation in the state, just as a lot of different inquiries ended up leading to the provisions of Senate Bill 77. So there's a lot that we can do by working with local law enforcement, but of course, sheriffs and police don't report to me. Sheriffs report to the voters in their county, and police report to the mayor and city council of their community. So ultimately, if the standard is going to become mandatory, it would have to be legislated. In the meantime, we're going to work cooperatively and coordinate this and see how much progress we can make, and I think it will be substantial because I think everybody shares the same goals, and it's a matter of figuring out what the obstacles have been thus far to achieving those goals. Any other questions? Anybody? Anybody else on the phone? All right.